Welcome back. Well, today we're going to talk about gun cleaning and lubrication. The mystique of cleaning and lubricating guns. Isn't that something you can tune in any channel and you're going to find people that have got all kinds of concoctions and special, special salves and medicines for their guns to make sure that they run nice and clean and well lubricated. So let's talk about that for a minute. What are we doing with a gun when we're cleaning it? Well, you're cleaning steel. That's all you're cleaning. It's not. Go past the gun cleaning mentality and think about cleaning steel. Think about as cleaning a dirty wrench that you just used on your engine. Talk about cleaning, the piston that you just removed from an engine. Think about cleaning your silverware at home. It's just steel. It's a metal part that got dirty when you were shooting it. That's all it is. Think beyond guns and just think simply. It's just steel you're cleaning. What is it that you're cleaning from the gun? Well, you're simply cleaning carbon and graphite. It's just dirt. It's just the soot that accumulates from the smoke and the burning powder. So cleaning that off is very, very simple. It's just on the surface of the steel. It didn't get into the steel or anything else. It's just on the surface of the steel, and it just needs to be washed off. Back in prior to the Korean War, U.S. ammunition was largely corrosive, except for the 30 M1 carbine. All other ammunition was corrosive, and the guns had to be cleaned rather drastically by using hot soapy water that the cook would prepare usually. He'd get a couple of big drums of water, and he'd put ivory soap flakes into one, and he'd have another couple of drums. One would be a drag-out drum, which would have, somewhat, it would get a little bit contaminated with the soapy water residue, and then finally a rinsing tank. So, the guys would simply, immerse the gun in the hot soapy one and scrub it out, and then they go into the next tank, rinse it, and they give it a final clean rinse in the third one. That's all they did. So, you can clean guns with hot soapy water. It's a messy thing to do, and with modern smokeless powders and non-corrosive primers is totally unnecessary. And it brings up the problem of having to make sure that you get the gun completely dry. You don't have a 55-gallon drum of hot boiling water that you can make sure that those parts are completely dry virtually dry when they pull them out. So the next best thing is to use just simple solvents. Now you can spend $15.95 or something for a pint bottle of Hoppies. I love the smell of Hoppies. My wife loves it when I use the Hoppies. It's wonderful, but it's expensive. And for a pint of that, you can get 8 times the quantity. This is a gallon. You can get 8 times that same quantity for a couple of dollars more, and you have a whole gallon of mineral spirits. It says paint thinner on the front. Paint thinner and mineral spirits are the same thing. They were developed in the 30s by a guy named Stoddard. They were originally known as Stoddard solvent. Now, that's one of the types of solvents that you can use. It's very economical. Hoppies number 9 is essentially kerosene, and being kerosene is flammable. Right on the front of the bottle, it'll say caution's flammable, and that's because it's a kerosene-based solvent. And kerosene-based solvents have the obvious hazard of being volatile, of being flammable, and that was the whole idea behind inventing mineral spirits and paint thinner in the 30s, was because oil-based and kerosene-based products that painters were using were highly flammable. They would cause spontaneous combustion and things like that. They were using turpentines and things. So this was a product that would not spontaneously combust. And it did just as good a job, if not a better job, than the other products did heretofore. Kerosene and turpentine and things. So you can use that as a solvent. You can also go to Harbor Freight. They have a good have a good water-based, water-soluble degreaser, and I've not used it, but from every review I've seen, guys love it. People love it. They use it for cleaning everything, and it does a nice job. But I cannot say whether it is non-corrosive. It says it's non-corrosive, but that's again even cheaper for a whole gallon of it, and it's dilutable too. You can water it down, and it does just a fine job. So there are other products out there that don't have gun on the label. There's no need to buy a special dedicated gun product. And you certainly, the last thing I would recommend is that you go out and buy the product which was used by the Kaiser and his army, in World War I. That's totally unnecessary. I mean, that stuff is extremely expensive. It doesn't do anything to steel. It's just simply it does the same thing that any solvent does. It simply removes the carbon residue, the carbon and graphite, which is used. Graphite is a lubricant which is used to keep powder flowing through powder systems, smokeless powder, that is. And it's used as a burning deterrent. So that's all you're removing. The nature of steel is such that you can't impart anything into it. You can't put anything into the steel. Once the steel is made, once it's cast, once it's hammer forged, whatever it is, or plated, that's it. You can clean it, and you can clean it off. You can whatever's on top of it, you can clean that stuff off the top, and you can apply a protective oil to lubricate it. All I use, and I've mentioned this so many times, I just simply go down to the local yard goods store where people go to buy fabric for making clothes, and you go into the section where they have cotton flannel, just plain cotton flannel, nothing special. There's no synthetics involved. It's very highly absorbent. It's soft. It won't harm any metals, no matter how nicely they're finished. And I take some plain mineral spirits. Mineral spirits is available in the apothecary section of a grocery store, along the same aisle as where you get laxatives and stuff like that, because that's what it's used for by a lot of people. It's a lubricant laxative. And mineral oil is a very fine oil, which it's a non-toxic oil that has a completely odorless, and you can actually consume it, and it's not going to hurt you. I don't recommend that you be consuming too much of this unless you have some sort of issues, but it won't harm you, and neither will it harm your gun. And if you happen to get a little bit of it on your stock as you're wiping things down, and that's all you need to do for any parts, is simply wipe them down with that oily cloth when you get done. I apply some of that stuff into this cloth and then wring it to distribute it throughout the cloth, and that does a nice job. And I keep that in a Ziploc plastic bag to store it. Now, what does it say about lubrication? Now, this is one of the most aggressive types of guns out there. It's a semi-automatic, high-powered rifle. If there's anything that operates more aggressively than this in the firearms world, I don't know what it is. So what does Ruger say about lubrication of their fine gun? It says, wipe all surfaces clean with cloth, then wipe all surfaces with a patch or cloth that has been very lightly oiled. Fini. That's the end of it. There's nothing else that you do to lubricate this gun. People get so wound up about lubrication. They're afraid that their gun is going to somehow disintegrate if they don't start drizzling oil into the different crevices of the gun. And then they wonder why they're having stove piping, they're having all kinds of issues. And then some of these guns actually, they end up getting permanently damaged, or they blow up because so much oil gets into the bore, it causes an obstruction. And then Ruger and other companies address that. It says, warning, firing a rifle with oil, grease, or any other material may even partially obstruct the bore and result in damage to the rifle and serious injuries to the shooter and those nearby. Do not spray or apply lubricants directly on ammunition, for instance. If the powder of a cartridge, blah, 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 they're talking about the malfunction of the ammunition. And then firing a subsequent bullet into the obstructed bore may damage the rifle and cause serious injury or death to the shooter and those nearby. Improper lubrication destroys firearms. That was hammered into me when I attended the factory armor school at Smith & Wesson and Ruger and Remington. Most of the guns that they get back that have been destroyed or jammed up or something is because they were improperly lubricated. They were lubricated. You don't need to lubricate guns. There are very, very, very few parts on a gun that actually have to receive lubrication. You notice it did not say that you have to lubricate the track. If you have a blued Mini 14 or a gun that has, that the bluing can wear off by parts that are cycling upon one another, you can use a product which I recommend is Lubriplate. And now Lubriplate, this happens to be number 130 AA. This tube here contains enough Lubriplate to last for 25 years, because you shouldn't be using much of it. Just one or two little daubs of it where the track rides against the bolt, or vice versa. That's all you need, and that will provide ample lubrication so that those parts don't wear the bluing off so much. But they don't need to have lubrication to make the gun cycle. I did a special video on how to lubricate a AR-15. The only special lubrication it requires is on the forward end of the bolt and the cam, and use LSA. That was what originally was designed to do. LSA is a high heat lubricant which will not disintegrate, in a direct impingement firearm such as a AR-15, M16. So just one or two drops on the forward section of the bolt where it rides against the bolt carrier, and that's all you need to have. The use of any kind of lubricant on any kind of gun, for the most part, is simply asking for trouble. Oil will get into your wood, and the wood will degrade, and basically you'll get dry rot, and that's what causes so many guns to get destroyed through the years. Lever action firearms, shotguns, things like that. Oil will always find its way to the wood, and it will always seep into the wood, and when it does, it causes damage to the wood. So don't apply any more than what the cloth applies. Gravity is not going to have any effect on the oil that I apply with the rag. And when you take apart your gun to clean it, use that, after you've cleaned it, use that same rag to apply a light film of oil to the gun and put it back together, and don't worry about drizzling oil in places. So I wish to thank all my Patreon donors for all your fabulous assistance. It's very, very helpful to me. Things are getting tough these days. Give me a thumbs up. Put some comments in the comment section if you have any suggestions. I'll try to get to those as soon as I can. I'm looking forward to Christmas Day when our Lord Jesus comes, and that's going to be a great day. We'll get together with all the kids and the family and everything. But give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and God bless.